Good morning, Unity San Marcos. It's so good to be with you. Let's start off with Surely the Presence. In the midst of God's children, the Lord said He would be. It doesn't take very many. It can be just two or three, and I feel the same sweet spirit that I've felt of times before. Surely I can say that I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful way to start off the day. Let's take that into prayer. Let's just take that feeling, that acknowledgement, that affirmation, that surely right now, no matter what is going on in the external world around us, that surely the presence of God is right here, right now. Feel that. Allow that to come into and pervade into your consciousness, that no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're experiencing, no matter what's happening in the world, that God is right here, and that God's divine order is working itself out in the world, and that everything works towards good in the long run, despite short-term temporary appearances to the contrary. You know, Jesus, our teacher and way shower, at one point in Matthew 24, he tells us that the world will always have wars and rumors of wars. And he advises us to not be concerned or overly concerned with the appearance of those things, that they are merely evidence of the birth pains of the world giving birth to itself. Hold that in consciousness, that we are literally in the birth canal right now, going to a new birth, a new evolution, moving into greater and greater expressions of God's divine love. And sometimes the birth process can be experienced as traumatic and even painful. But that on the other side of the birth, on the other side of the birth process, there is new life, new possibility, new creative opportunities to continue to move the ball forward in our experience to a greater and greater expression, to an evolution, reaching deeper and deeper into the authentic core of our indwelling Christ presence. And we are so grateful for that indwelling Christ presence, because we know that it is our contact point. It is our connection directly to the divine source of all creative power, all divine ideas, all divine truth. And for this and so much more, we say thank you. Thank you, thank you, living, loving Spirit. Thank you for being here, present with us right now. Thank you for your divine power that activates and animates our lives. Thank you. We pray all of this and more in the assured nature that all works towards good in God's plan. We pray in the name and the nature of Jesus the Christ, and so it is, and so we allow it to be. Amen. To continue now, I actually didn't know this as I was planning today's message for you guys. I didn't know this until a few minutes ago when Diane asked me to read the Daily Word. I pulled it up here on my phone app, and the Daily Word for today, when we're recording, is inner peace. And we're going to be talking about inner peace in just a little bit. But I am going to read the Daily Word for Sunday when you guys are actually hearing this, and we'll talk more about peace in just a few minutes. The Daily Word for Sunday, September 27th, 2020, is faith. And faith has a role in creating our inner peace, and we'll talk more about that as well. So, divine order once again. So, with faith, nothing is impossible for me. With gratitude, I use my faith to trust in the good that is always present, even when it has not yet manifested. As I pray with faith, I discern the truth that always endures through even the most difficult circumstances. And as I concentrate on harmony and love, all thoughts of lack, limitation, and discord simply dissolve. And as I speak with faith, I use positive words to express my belief in myself and others as divine beings. And as I act with faith, I access deep, lasting strength and fortitude that helps me surmount any challenges. Inspired by my faith, I move forward with confidence. Nothing is impossible for me. And the reading that goes along with today's daily word comes from Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. And once again, the daily word for Sunday, September 27th, 2020 is faith. For that faith, we are ever so grateful. So I'd like to continue now by singing you guys another song here, and then we're going to dive deeper into our message today, which is about the commitment to peace. So let's switch back over here to that guitar station and play you guys a song. Doing double duty.
You ain't ready.
Yeah. It's my Gemini nature, so. For me, one of the best musicians that ever lived was George Harrison of the Beatles, and he wrote a lot of songs about peace and all kinds of other. Love was a great topic for him as well. This is one of my very, very favorite songs, which actually incorporates both of those ideas of love and peace. give me life, give me free from birth, give me hope, and help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. Take hold of my hand, that I might understand you. Won't you please, oh, won't you give me love, give me love, give me peace on earth, give me light, give me life, keep me free from birth now, and give me hope, and help me cope with this heavy load, trying to touch and reach you with heart and soul. My Lord.
Thank you, Rick. Yeah. Thank you. That was wonderful.
Oh, so yes, George Harrison, God bless him. God bless him for the beautiful music. So much beautiful music in the world. Let's just take a moment to take that in. I want to invite you now. We're going to spend a few moments here in meditation. I'll play you a song here in just a moment to kind of set the stage. But wherever you are enjoying this Sunday service with us, I just invite you to get yourself comfortable in your own private space there, and kind of settle in. If there's some distractions going on around you, I just invite you just to put those on pause for just a few precious, sweet moments. I'm going to play you a song here in just a moment, and just let that establish the conditions for our time in the silence. There's nothing really to say, because we know that all we have to do is be still and know that we are in the midst of the power and the presence. And we spend these few precious moments connecting with our own indwelling Christ presence. We're going to let a very beautiful song of Daniel Nahmod's take us into that space. So I just invite you just to center yourself. Take a deep, cleansing, centering breath. If you feel comfortable where you are, I invite you to close your eyes and just let the beauty of this song take you into the silence. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Let's just take that into the silence for a few moments. I invite you to gently bring your awareness and your attention back now into this moment, back now into the sound of my voice, maintaining that connection to your own indwelling Christ presence, which is your personal direct connection to the divine source of all creation, of all life, of all divine power, God the good. And I remind you that wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Despite appearances to the contrary in the world, all is well, and that God's divine order holds it all together. That all things work together for good, despite any appearances to the contrary. God is here. God's power is with you, and all is well. And so we say thank you, living, loving Spirit. We pray all of this and more in the name and the nature of Jesus the Christ, our teacher and our way shower. Amen. I just want to acknowledge whoever's handling the sound, whoever has set up the sound. It sounds really, really good in here today. I hope y'all are enjoying that experience at home whenever you see this playback and everything, but the sound sounds great. Thank you for that. So I was driving over here today, had a nice drive from my home in Austin down here this morning, and was listening to A Course in Miracles and thinking about being here, and I realized as I was driving that I've been coming here for about 10 years now and delivering messages and services to you guys, going back to when Don Siler was here, and he was the first one that had me coming over here playing music to accompany his services, and then I think he was gone up to Kansas City for some classes and stuff, and he asked me to speak, and that was the first time that I had spoken here, and I've been coming and seeing you guys for a long time now. So we are a family. We are extended family. So I say that to acknowledge that over the course of time, I have spoken about a lot of different subjects, but one of the consistent subjects that I've spoken about on an ongoing basis is the subject of peace. Not world peace, your personal inner peace. And how that's our responsibility to do what is necessary to create the conditions in consciousness that increases our opportunity, increases our chances, the odds, so to speak, for us to experience personal peace, no matter what's going on in our lives or in the external world around us. All of these spiritual principles, whether it's unity principles or the Four Agreements or A Course in Miracles or any of the other great spiritual wisdom that has come down through the ages and has been shared with us, the purpose of all of those is to help us to live in alignment with truth principles for the purpose of putting ourselves in a position to experience inner peace. If your spiritual principles or your belief system is not resulting in your personal experience of peace, then it might be time to re-examine those, reevaluate those, make some tweaks, recalibrate things to figure out how we can get ourselves into alignment and to increase our odds, as I said, to actually experience personal peace. The whole idea about God being present, God is here, all is well, all of those affirmations that we say to ourselves are to help us create that condition to remind us that despite appearances in the world, that there is a divine order in play, and that if we trust in that, then we're going to put ourselves in a position to experience inner peace, to experience personal peace, no matter what may be going on in our lives or in the world. As I mentioned that in the opening prayer there, the teaching from Matthew chapter 24, I believe it's verse 5 if you want to go looking for it, but it's in there where Jesus is talking about that there will always be wars and rumors of wars, and then he further counsels us to not be overly concerned with the appearance of those things, that they're merely examples of the world giving birth to itself. They're like birth pains of the world. So as you all know, the birth process, can be experienced as traumatic for both the mother and the child who is being, in that experience. If you're in the actual, birth canal giving birth, it's experienced as trauma. But on the other side of that birth is joy. There's love. There's instant love between mother and child, for example. And then there's that clean slate, that example of brand new opportunity for new life, new possibility, and almost everybody in that moment experiences a sense of hope and optimism for the future of that child, for the future of our relationship to that child and everything. And that is literally going on everywhere on the planet, both just as a physical matter of a child being born, but also in a more metaphysical and metaphorical sense. There's what's going on in the world is the ongoing human evolution through time. And if you think about the long arc of time, the long history, not just what we're experiencing now in the context of our own individual lifetimes, or this year, or the past 10 years, or 20 years, but the long arc, there has been an evolution. There has been an advancement of the human soul. There has been an advancement and a progress, as it were, for human civilization. Are there still some challenges in the world that need addressing? Sure, certainly, there are. But I have faith that we will overcome those things. But we overcome those things when we put ourselves into alignment with truth principles, and that we do our best to live in alignment with those. We increase our odds and we shrink the time necessary to actually express and bring those things into manifestation. I was listening to A Course in Miracles this morning, and I've been listening. I put it on my Audible app here a few months ago, and I listened to it on my morning walks and everything. Just have the text read to me, and I read through it 2 or 3 times over the course of the last 20 years or so. But it's interesting to have it read back to me. First of all, I began to realize how much of that languaging that I have actually internalized over the course of time. And hearing it come back to me, I realized, oh wow, I say that all the time now. I didn't realize that's where it actually came from. But one of the things that I was reminded of this morning is what the purpose of a miracle is. And the purpose of a miracle is to save time. The purpose of a miracle is to save time, that it shrinks the time necessary to go from one condition that might not be in our best interest, might be a lot of fear and everything, and the miracle comes in and it collapses the time necessary to get me over into the other experience. And one of the great metaphorical ways to look at this from one of the stories in the Bible, if you just think about it, the parting of the Red Sea is a good example. So, the Jewish people were moving towards their salvation, moving towards their freedom, but they were being pursued by the Egyptian army who didn't want them to get away, so to speak. And that metaphysically, when the Red Sea parted, it saved time because they were able to then just simply walk across in the Gulf to the other side, as opposed to building boats and getting everybody in the boats and then slowly going across the Red Sea. So the miracle, metaphysically speaking, saved time for them to get to the other side, which represented the opportunity for their salvation, their freedom, their independence, and so forth. That's just one example. But if you begin to test that example, if you begin to test that premise, you'll see that a miracle does exactly that. It saves time. If someone's going through cancer treatments for someone, and then the doctors go, wow, they just had a spontaneous remission. We can't really explain it, but we can find no evidence of the cancer anymore. And the doctors and everybody expected that this was going to be a long, arduous process, and we're going to beat the cancer back just a little bit at a time, and then one day it seems to be spontaneously gone, and everybody's scratching their heads, and they can't explain it. Well, I can explain it. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. It saved time, but the person who experiences that had done what was necessary to cultivate the conditions to allow that miracle to express through them. And so I see peace as the same way. I think peace is a miracle. And of course, the miracles languaging, when it talks about miracles, it says miracles are actually naturally occurring. They're naturally occurring. That if we're not seeing miracles, it's not evidence that the miracles are not present. It's evidence that we're not seeing correctly, that we're not seeing the circumstances correctly, and that the purpose of the course is to help us to remove the obstacles that are preventing us from actually seeing the presence of the miracles. And one of the ways that we do that is with the power of love. With the power of love. I mentioned the faith being the daily word for today when you guys are listening back to this on Sunday. Faith is our perceiving power. That's what Charles calls our perceiving power. It's the power that allows us to perceive possibilities that are not yet in physical manifestation. And that with the power of our faith, we're able to then go, there's the possibility. There's the possibility of healing. There's the possibility of prosperity coming into my life. There's the possibility of me experiencing love more of the time. There's the possibility of peace. I'm not necessarily experiencing peace right now, but my faith allows me to see the possibility that peace is possible for me. And that knowing that possibility is there, it takes me out of that dark night of the soul experience for just a moment. It gives me that glimpse of hope. If you've ever had a dark night of the soul experience, and most of us have, I've had my share of them, I have more than one, that the dark night of the soul experience is every single one of those, when I can look back at those, I realize that dark night of the soul was a moment when my faith was being tested. And that as I moved through that experience of the dark night of the soul and I came back on the other side, that my faith actually increased. That even despite the challenges and the darkness that we're experiencing, and it's just like that birth tube, right? That birth canal kind of thing. That to the baby that doesn't really know what's going on, it's traumatic. That's why a lot of them come out crying on the other end of it, because it's experienced that way. But then on the other side of that dark night, the light comes in. And with the light, we're able to see brand new. We're able to see brand new. And it's the same with our peace, okay? That I want to say this about peace. And this is the title of today's talk. I'm calling it The Commitment to Peace. There's I think it's from Proverbs in the Old Testament. There's one of the Proverbs in the Old Testament. Without vision, the people will perish. That without vision, the people will perish. And what that means metaphysically is that unless I have a vision pulling me forward, I have a goal in mind, something that I'm moving towards, then I don't know how to get there. And then I'm going to flounder. George Harrison has another song on one of his last album, actually, and the title of the song is, "If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there." You have to have a vision that's pulling you forward, right? You have to know what your direction is. You have to know what your goal is. And it's the same way with peace. That unless you have a commitment to peace, you don't really have a shot at experiencing peace. You might have momentary flashes of it where, you just kind of recognize, oh, wow, I'm in an experience of peace, but you didn't really know how you got there. So if you didn't know how you got there, that peace is not going to last. It's going to be ephemeral. It's going to just be there one moment, and the next minute we're kind of right back into our human drama, so to speak, and we're not experiencing peace. So in order to create the conditions to experience peace on a consistent basis, we have to first have a commitment for peace to be our experience. You have to have that commitment, just like if we're going to be a professional sports player or a professional musician or a professional artist. There are fundamentals that each one of those individuals has to practice in order to become a professional athlete, a professional musician, a professional artist, anything really, even a professional engineer or a doctor. You have to practice the fundamentals of that. And in practicing the fundamentals of peace, there's several of them that we could get into, and we don't have time to get into all of them today, but one of the principal ones is love. Practicing love in all circumstances, with all people. That if we reserve our love and give it to some and not to others, then the ones that we're not giving the love to, that we've got some kind of grievance with or whatever, that grievance is going to prevent us from experiencing personal peace. Because the conditions that we're saying is that I'm uncomfortable with this idea, this person, this circumstance, whatever it is that we've got a grievance in place with, that's a block. And basically what we're saying is, until that is no longer in the world, no longer in my experience, I'm going to maintain my protest. I'm going to maintain my grievance. And I'm not going to allow myself to experience peace, but I'm certainly not going to allow that other person to experience peace. I'm going to keep my grievance in place, right? Well, okay, we can do that. And in fact, we do that. And we continue to do it until we get tired of the same result that we're getting. I used to say something, you may have heard this before, not necessarily from me, maybe just in your own life, but I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. When I look back at the times of my life when I heard myself saying that, that was always an inflection point. That was a leverage point in my life when I would get sick and tired of being sick and tired of the same old. That was always a leverage point where I made a new decision. I said, you know what? I've been doing it this way long enough. I don't know how I'm going to get to a different experience just yet now, but I'm changing my mind about having this one. So I'm going to stop doing that. It's like that old adage of, when you find yourself digging yourself into a hole, the first thing to do is to put down the shovel and step away. Stop digging, okay? And then you can get out of the hole. So you have to change your behavior in order to change your results of your experience. And so that's why I say that in order to experience peace, you have to have a commitment to peace. You have to say to yourself, hey, no matter what else is going on, I need to change the conditions in my consciousness. I change the activity of my own thinking, my own actions, and I want to create the possibility for me to have a new experience. And that experience for me is peace. That peace is the end game. It's something that I've been practicing for a long time now. So I've kind of got a little, got a little practice at it right now. I've gotten kind of good at it. Doesn't mean I do it perfectly. I can think of a couple of occasions just this week when I lost my peace. With an extended family member, with some conditions in the world. But the good news now is that when I do experience that loss of my peace, it's temporary. And it's very, very short. It's just like kind of blowing a valve, blowing off steam or whatever. And then you recalibrate, you kind of get back to square, and you bring it back. When I think about myself 25 years ago, before I got on a spiritual path and began working with principles, I would run around being angry for days, weeks. It just became a normal condition in my body. It was literally making me ill. It was literally making me diseased, And so it was only when things like The Artist's Way, A Course in Miracles, the Four Agreements, Unity Principles, when those truth principles began to come into my life and I began to apply them, I began to have different experiences. And then I would experience peace some of the time, and then for a little while at a time, 3 or 4 days in a row, and then have a little meltdown, and then get back. And as the Course in Miracles says, if I'm not at peace for any reason whatsoever, then I'm not seeing correctly. Like the power of my faith, I'm not perceiving correctly. And that if I want to be at peace, I must choose again. I must choose again. The whole of Course in Miracles, in one way you could say it, the whole of A Course in Miracles, all 670 pages of the text, distills down to those 2 words, choose again. That the whole purpose of the Course in Miracles is to help me to create the conditions to experience peace. And that if I'm not at peace, I've chosen wrongly. And if I want to be at peace, choose again. That what we would call sin, Course in Miracles kind of redefines sin as it's not an action to be punished, but an error to be corrected. As I've chosen wrongly. And y'all may have heard this before, may have heard me say it before, but that word sin originally comes is an archery term, and it means to miss the mark. So if you put the arrow in your bow and you let go and you miss the mark, that's called a sin in archery terms. And so what you do is you pull another arrow out of the quiver and retrain and re-aim, and you shoot again to try and hit the mark. And it's the same way. It's an error to be corrected. That takes off a whole lot of energy that we carry around with shame and guilt that we can't seem to get this right. We're, even in the old fundamentalist Christian language and everything, that we're born sinners and that we really can't do anything about that. We're born sinners. Well, that just means that we're going to make mistakes. None of us does this perfectly. But the good news is this. You have unlimited creative power. Now think about that. Bring that into consciousness for just a moment. You have unlimited creative power, unlimited creative potential. And if you think about that and extrapolate that out rationally and think about it, if you have unlimited creative potential, you can never actually achieve your fullest potential because your potential is unlimited. There's always something more that you can achieve. There's always something more that you can express. But knowing that I have unlimited creative potential, it gives me a lot of room for progress in my life. It gives me a lot of room to improve. It gives me a lot of room to become more consistent over time in choosing peace. If peace is my end game, and I know that, and I affirm that for myself, then as I move forward trying to create the conditions for peace in my life, then I'm going to choose consistently because that's my end goal. If I want to become a world-class jazz musician, I practice those fundamentals that are necessary for me to become a world-class jazz musician. If I want to become a world-class athlete, you do what world-class athletes in that particular sport do to become really, really professional and proficient at your job. And it's like any pursuit, no matter what the pursuit is. If you want to become the world's greatest teacher, then you practice the principles of what it is to teach. And one of the ideas of teaching and education, it used to be that the word education meant to bring forth from within, like to inspire your students to tap into what's already within them and to bring it forth from within. Now we kind of practice education as sort of a top-down thing where, indoctrinating people almost. You're telling them what to think, not how to think. And that's an error. That's an error. We can correct that and correct course to get back to the true sense of what it means. And unity principles, it's the same thing. We have an indwelling Christ presence, right? Each one of us, everyone has an indwelling Christ presence. And our work in unity is to get in touch with that indwelling Christ presence. It is not I, but the Christ within that does the work. My job is to get out of the way. And so that's how we spend time in the silence. That's one of the unity's principles, of course, is that we spend time in the silence connecting with that indwelling Christ presence. That we slow the activity of our thinking down. That we tend to park our feelings to become neutral. And that we go into the silence. And that we connect with the indwelling Christ presence. And instead of thinking our way through, we listen. We listen for guidance. We listen for the truth that is already within. And how do we know the truth is already within? Because God is present. God is here. God is with me. God is with you. God is everywhere. God is not portable. We don't bring our God with us. God is already present wherever we go. And that as we cultivate that consciousness, God is here and all is well, and we practice that and we affirm that for ourselves, then we continue to establish the conditions for us to experience peace. Not more peace, because we're either at peace or we're not at peace. That's just the switch. It's going back and forth. We're oscillating back and forth from an experience of peace and then temporary experiences where we're not at peace. Of course, the miracles would tell us that it doesn't really matter if we're not at peace because somebody cut us off in traffic, or we're not at peace with some external condition in the world. It might seem like a little thing that I got cut off in traffic, and it might seem like a big thing, this external circumstance in the world that I'm not at peace about. But of course, the miracles would teach us that they're both the same, because they're both equally destructive to our peace. We can't be a little bit at peace or mostly at peace. We're either at peace or we're not. And if we're not at peace, then that's evidence that we're not seeing correctly, and that we can correct our vision, we can correct the way that we look at it. And how we do that is, one of the first ways we do that is, let there be light. Let there be light. Bring light into this situation that seems to be darkness. And that when we bring light into the situation, the light casts out the darkness, and we're able to see anew. We're able to see with fresh eyes. We're able to be reborn, as it were, with new sense of possibilities for ourselves. So I want to conclude the talk portion. I'm going to play y'all one more song here that's going to go along with this here in just a moment. But I want to just conclude with just this simple idea for you to carry forward into your day, into your weeks and months ahead and so forth, until I see you next time. That in this commitment to peace, that if I'm going to have a chance at experiencing peace, I must first make a personal commitment to peace. I must make a commitment to peace for it to be my prevailing condition in my life. And that once I've made that decision, once I've made that commitment, then to go within and to connect with my indwelling Christ presence and to listen for guidance. Because the guidance is already there. It's waiting for me to turn my attention to it. And that when I simply be still and know that I am in the midst, and the power of the presence is right here with me, then I stop trying to think my way through my problems. I stop trying to think my way to solutions, and I instead listen to the true wisdom of the guidance that is already within my being. I was born with it. You were born with it. We have a direct connection to source. The source of light, the source of love, the source of creative power. All of it. You have it. I have it. Everyone has it. The only variable between me and you and anybody else is how willing we are to align our life with those true principles. It's a really simple thing to understand. It's not necessarily easy for us to do because we have to overcome the momentum of our own habits. We've already been choosing how we've been choosing up to this point in time. And if we want to make a commitment to do something, a lot of times we get kind of wiggy. You know, I don't want to make a commitment because if I make a commitment to this thing, I got to change this thing to make room for this new commitment. I know. I've done the same thing. I know what that chatter is all about. But the truth is, we're already doing these things. What we're really making a commitment to is to have a different experience. It's not necessarily that we change what we're doing or who we're connected with in life. We just change how we're showing up. And that commitment to peace is a beginning point for us. It's a point where we say, I want my outcome to be the experience of my personal inner peace. And I'm already in this job. I'm already in these relationships. I already have these family members. There's all this stuff going on in the world. And so if I'm making a commitment to peace to change my outcome, I'm not necessarily going to change what I'm doing or who I'm connected with, but I'm going to change how I'm showing up in those relationships, in those circumstances. That's the big commitment, is that I want to have a different outcome. I want to experience personal peace. We have all kinds of aid, all kinds of assistance. Light comes in, love comes in, creative power comes in, and it makes the angels sing. When any one of us makes a new commitment to have a different experience, all manner of aid and assistance and divine power comes immediately to our rescue, comes immediately into the situation, and we create that opening for Spirit to begin working in our lives. But it starts with that commitment. We have to really legitimately say to ourselves, I wish to have an experience of peace in my life on a consistent basis. Therefore, I'm going to make a commitment to do what is necessary to align myself with the truth principles and the values of peace, so that peace is my experience. We have all kinds of assistance in that, and one of those great ones is God's light, God's love. And so that's what this next song is about. I want to thank y'all for being here and spending your time with this. I'm looking so forward to the next time that we're all able to be together with one another. I miss all you guys. I miss seeing you. There's a few of y'all here right now with me right now. Thank goodness there's somebody to talk to, and that I'm not just talking into the silence by myself. So I want to thank y'all for being here. I want to thank Carol for the wonderful sound, and I'm going to spend one more song here with you guys right now. When the dark night feels like it goes on forever, when you tremble alone in the dark, in your darkest hour, I pray that you remember that the healing light comes with the dawn. So let there be light, let there be love, let there be peace, like the white-winged dove. Let there be wings, so you can fly, a song you can sing every time you cry. Let there be grace to make it all right. Let there be peace, let there be love, let there be light. It's hard to see, there are no answers. When you stumble and you're feeling so blind, when the end is in doubt and you feel like surrender, may the guiding light dawn in your mind. Let there be light, let there be love, let there be peace below and above. Let there be wings, so you can fly, a song you can sing every time you cry. Let there be grace to make it all right. And let there be peace, let there be love, let there be light. Let there be light, let there be love, and let there be peace, like the white-winged dove. Let there be dreams to carry you on, and let there be roads that'll lead you home. Let there be dawn to follow the night. Let there be peace, let there be love, let there be light. Oh, let there be peace, let there be love, let there be light. Yeah, let there be peace, let there be love, let there be light. Let there be light. So now it's our opportunity and the time in our service where we turn our attention to the law of circulation, the law of prosperity, the law of abundance at work in our lives. It's our time, the giving of our offering. And I know that we're not physically together where we would be physically taking up the offering, but I want you to bring your gift to mind. I encourage you to go to the website, unitychurchofsanmarcos.org, I believe is correct. Is that correct, guys? unitychurchofsanmarcos.org, and you'll find a PayPal button there on that page. You can give electronically. You can certainly give the old analog way by sending in your check here to the church and everything. But we get to participate in that law of circulation. We get to participate in that law of abundance and prosperity. And we're so grateful for that law of prosperity because God promises us that as we give, so shall we receive. And even more so than that, he promises to return our gifts, to return our givings back to us 10 times and more, pressed down and overflowing. So as you bring your gift into consciousness this morning and you see yourself giving, you might even be reaching for the PayPal button where you are right now and giving right now. And I encourage you to do that because then you can participate in that giving with us right now. And we have a prosperity blessing that we say, and I want to invite you to say it there along with me where you are right now. Divine love as me blesses and increases all that I give, all that I receive, all that I have, and all that I am. For God is my source, and abundance is my nature. And so it is, and so we let it be. So as we close here, I want to invite everybody to stay with us here and invite you to say the prayer of protection right along with me here as we close and we keep our commitment to peace at the forefront of our mind in the days and weeks ahead, and that we practice those principles of peace, knowing that God is here and all is well. I invite you to say the prayer for protection with me right now. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. I so look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon in the future, right here inside this sanctuary. In the meantime, peace.
Thank you, Rick.